Okay. Finale to Never Knows Best. The scenario, I'm going to run the same scenario at Gauntlet Con, and I'm calling it Oliver Twist. Tickles me every time. Last time, what we had seen was Kit hurt. I gotta relearn people's names. Laszlo, and that prompted Jackson to turn into a robot. Then Oliver, we discovered, was a vampire who has a sort of Horcrux heart in the iPod that is, we can imagine, sort of being like tossed around and stuff as the robots are clashing, right? Like it's probably like spinning around on the ground and all that kind of stuff. And let's see, Felix had been choked out by the vampire, and that way Mark could, I assume, transform this session with an idea of what the robot will look like. So, did I miss anything? That's everything that's happened, right? As far as people can recall? Yeah. Cool. So for start of session, I'll introduce a threat outside of the player's knowledge, and that will be the opening shot of this particular episode will be Oliver in that like dark place again, right? And he previously in the last episode, he was like calling out, and presumably he exercised some will to get Oliver to give the iPod to Laszlo as sort of like a bid to help break the not mechanical robot, but whatchamacallit, vampire Oliver out. And so this time I think we see like he's like rocking back and forth in this dark space, which I believe I had alluded to was like a silo in the HM complex. And within the darkness, though, we see him like his eyes turn like anime white, and his form begins to grow larger and larger. And we only see that by like the outline of his body as it grows quite large, right? As if it's filling the space of this silo before we cut back to the intense scene here where 3 of you guys are involved in a battle and evil Oliver the vampire is choked out your other compatriot. Oh, hey, yeah, and you're switching your match pair to Oliver. So that's good. Nice. Does anyone else have any start of session stuff like that? I don't think so, right? Yeah. Cool. So, let's see, where should we pick up? Felix, did you want to start with you transforming after you take distress as well?
I was rereading my character sheet. I'm sorry.
Okay.
and I was muted, and I was like, I can't tell anybody what's going on. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Do you want to start us off with you transforming, or do you want to wait a little bit before that happens? Because last session you had taken distress, and you had narrated that you passed out, but that was merely to you as like a player to get an idea of what you wanted to change into. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to overflow if you wanted to.
I'll hold on for just a moment. I want to see how people react to what Oliver just did first.
Sure. And the last thing Oliver had said was the iPod. It's the Horcrux. It's the heart.
I said that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So what do people want to do? Let's just pull the table then. Jackson, what are you gonna do? What's your plan?
Ooh, I don't know. I transformed to fight Kit. because Kit was beating up on Laszlo. But now it's been brought to my attention that Felix is getting hurt. That's 2 hurts. But no, if Felix looks passed out, I'll probably try to lash out at Oliver.
Cool. Okay. So hold that thought. What about Kit?
Oh, that is such a good question. Laszlo, are you still looking to fight me? Like, are you? How are you looking?
I think the other stuff hasn't become big enough to distract from this all-important, world-shattering conflict for me yet.
Okay, so if you're looking at me like I'm coming at you, then I'm probably fixated on you.
Yep.
Which is probably what you want, right?
Just pay attention to me.
Yes, I'm probably still into the Laszlo weird love fight.
So you're gonna lash out?
Probably, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, Laszlo.
Okay, and what about Laszlo?
Same. Yeah. I'm definitely coming at Kit because she's evil and she made me feel all broken inside. She has to pay.
Okay, sounds good. From what I recall, Kit had struck you, but you hadn't got a chance to strike back yet, right?
That's what I remember, yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least not effectively.
Yeah, you initially started it, you failed, and then that made Kit be excellent against you. So do you want to try again, see what happens?
Sure.
Cool. So what does it look like? Also, do you want to remind me what your robot form is like?
So yeah, my quick transformation scene was like this mechanical hole rips open in his chest, and his heart and his veins, which are all like wires and cables, come out as strings that wrapped up all around him and made him into a big like 14-foot tall thing made out of wires, and then all these speakers like popped out where his eyes and ears and nose and mouth and stuff would be. So they're just all these speakers dotted around. What was Kit like again?
Very much like the structural curvature of a shallow, like very womanly curves kind of thing going on. Very like rust colored as well. Ever heard of him? I guess I was thinking like, you know, when you get the cool like when you get the real fancy bass guitars and electric guitars and stuff, there's like the wood like veneer finishing on it, like maybe lots of that stuff going on amongst like all the metal, because I feel like that looks very distressed and cool, right? Because that's what we're all about.
Nice.
And like bullet chains of lipstick tubes and otherwise armed with lots of probably like a couple of mirrors, like mirror shoulder pads or that kind of thing, like I don't know, just lots of mix of makeup and military.
So yeah, I think there's this like electronic distorted violin sort of screeching up a scale sound that starts out of the speakers and gets louder and louder as some of these strings and cables come extending down from his arm, and he sort of like whips them over his robot head to grapple around the Kitbot, and this sound, as it's getting louder and louder, like it's starting, you can see the vibrations rolling through the wires, and then it just like shoots down his arm, these vibration lines, and down the wires, and I assault her with this screeching violin sound. Sound waves and electricity and shit.
Cool. So what are you tagging?
I think experimental, heartbroken, and digital haunting.
Okay. And remember, you can use labels of kits to get a bonus on this roll or later to inflict harm, possibly. Choosing either or.
I think I'll grab her heartless for a bonus on the roll.
That seems fair. At least from your perspective.
So 2d6 plus 2. It's 5. Ooh, I needed it, so that's just a 7.
Cool.
And on lash out. Wow, that's I think I'm only gonna do 2 harm.
Yeah.
Well, you have 3 right now, don't you? I don't want this to knock you out. I want the fight to eventually turn towards the real threat.
Yeah. Well, you can only do as much as your traits.
I tagged one of hers for the roll, so it wouldn't count in as damage. Right. Okay. I was afraid of that for a moment. So yeah, 2. And more words.
And then you choose the
2 options
things
below. So I have so many labels. I'll take distress, and sure, you can learn something about my nature and give me a label. I'm made of labels.
Cool. So you take 1 distress. Oh, that should be distress or harm, I guess, because initially I hadn't thought of the move being used by robots as well. It was going to be compartmentalized, but I think it works well either way. So you just take 1 harm. I'll make a note to say harm or distress on that move. And then what's the label?
I know exactly what label I'm going to give you. You can be fragile.
Nice.
Fragilely hearted. Yeah.
Cool. So what is your harm at now?
Just both at 1 harm.
Wow.
Left.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're both on your kind of like last ropes, right?
Yeah. How do you heal harm with this game?
How did I do it? You do reject. No. I should know this, but I don't. There is a move that will let you do it.
You have to travel into another RPG, heal.
Yeah, exactly.
It does say when you take when you're out of harm, there is a procedure for that where your harm resets and other bad things happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you revert to human form, create a bad trait, which is repressed, and take a powerful blow. So it's pretty bad. Otherwise, you can like do the whatchamacallit. Like if the danger is over, then I think you just regress like normal, right? Like when Jackson was a robot on the train after the threat was dealt with, then we kind of just like work together to see when they changed back. So you don't have to proceed, but know that if you max out, it's pretty bad for you. Also, I think what I was thinking is if you lash out and took the 4th option, which is something you care about is put in danger and you either flow immediately, or if you're a robot, you change your form, working with the MC to create a temporary advantage. One of the temporary advantage could be that you are able to take more harm. As you go into an alternate robot state or whatever. So, Kit, what's the plan? Are you gonna risk?
Quick question. So, do I have all the basic moves available to me as a robot, or are they restricted to certain moves?
No, I think they're all available at the moment.
Ooh. Then I don't know if I want to, because Laszlo didn't hurt me so much before, so that wasn't I didn't feel bad about lashing back at Laszlo because I was hurt, but now I've been really hurt by Laszlo.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, I'm debating between just like running away or trying to get my way by like making Leslie feel bad.
Sure.
Oh, make Leslie feel bad.
Yeah. Oh god damn it. I feel really bad about this because it's like using like feminine fragility to make you feel bad. But I think Kit probably like will start robot crying. In an attempt to like get her way to like defend and protect herself. It's probably like robot mascara running down her like yeah, really like oh yes, yes. When her robot cries, it's fully like oil, right? Because like it looks like bleeding mascara.
That's amazing.
This is my game.
Yeah. Yes. Cool. Okay, so you're gonna try to get your way and possibly end the conflict, right?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So what are you tagging?
I'm tagging oh shit. I kind of want to tag I kind of want to tag Heartless because I feel like this is like she's getting her way by crying. Like this is some amount of like manipulation there, right? Like using your emotions to manipulate people.
Yes.
You
might be improvising as well.
I think it's either like sort of improvising or flexible. Like she's changing her approach from violence to like, no, please feel bad about me. Oh yeah.
I was gonna say I could also see very hot and cold as you go from like extreme violence to crying on the ground sort of thing.
Yeah, totally. And I think I want to hit on you want so many good tags. I want to hit on fragile and heartbroken. And can I hit on your traits as well?
No, just labels.
Damn it. Okay, just labels. Okay, yeah.
And then remember that you also have a minus for whatever. Oh, you didn't have distress, so never mind.
Nah, do it. Yes, I'll hit on improvisational, hot and cold, heartless, heartbroken, and fragile.
Feels like this will end the confrontation. We'll see though.
Do we have a room? Oh, yeah, we do.
Oh.
Here it is. And I rolled 2d6, right? Because I hit a trait and a label. And then add some numbers to it.
Yes. Okay. 2d6 plus 3, right?
Okay. Yeah. I got a 9.
Oh. Okay, so they can either give you a label or choose from one of the following reactions.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna choose. I earnestly express how I feel about you.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna mute myself with this.
So you're there like crying oily mascara tears on the ground, and he just the Laszlo bot comes like thump 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 running up to you and kneels down. And he's like, "Are you all right? Are you hurt? You hurt me so much. We were special and we were gonna be together and we were gonna dance and make music and everything forever. And then you run off and you love Aiden now or just anybody else? Why did you have to hurt me like that?" And it's like multi-layered and echoing out of these different speakers and sort of time delays.
Oh, nice. And I feel like when Kit cries, it's like, it sounds like her, but then it's got that sort of like very like robotic, discordant, like mechanical sound to it as well. Kind of like, I don't know, really sad robotic accordion. And I don't think she says anything. I think she just like, while she probably gets a lot of like oily mascara under her shoulder. She like reaches out to pull you in for like a hug. but I think she's like stays silent on like how she feels about you.
Nice. I almost think coming out of that, like, that might bust down his robot form. Like, I think if you're not fighting back and if you're showing emotions and stuff, and you made him talk about emotions, like, that's all of his sort of power stripped away. So I think maybe like as they're hugging these wires, starting from the outside, they just sort of start to let loose and untangle and sort of flop to the ground until you're just holding like this very little in comparison Laszlo in your hand, like just holding onto his headphones and looking shy and awkward.
Cool. I wonder, mechanically, I wonder if that would happen, and that's how you would clear your distress, right? Because you used your distress as a robot and presumably have worked through it already, so you shouldn't be distressed anymore. That's how I think it would go, right?
I think so. And
so you either like get hurt really bad, revert to a human and get messed up, or you work through it and then that's how you get rid of your distress and you're kind of refreshed. I think that feels good to me.
Yeah.
So
And I also like the idea that now I am like, that was my sort of expenditure, and now I'm stuck as a human in a robot fight.
yeah, sure.
Kit probably like pulls you, 'cause like you're quite like our robots are quite huge, right? Like yours was massive,
Mm-hmm.
and mine was I made taller than yours.
Yes, I think I was like 15 feet. So you're like, I'm 18 feet tall.
So like Kit robot probably like pulls you up close in her apartment and says like, I'm so sorry I hurt you, Laszlo. I didn't realize you felt that strongly about me.
Feel everything so strong.
There's something I can do to make it up to you.
Oh no, I'll think about it.
Yeah, and then we'll cut to Jackson doing what? Are you gonna hit the bad guy?
Yeah, I think I think it's the anime thing where like Oliver is standing over Felix's body about to do something bad, and just a shadow appears over Oliver, and he looks up, and boom, there go Jackson just lands as a robot.
Cool. Okay. So are you targeting the physical body of the vampire or the iPod?
Laszlo has the iPod.
I think that Lazo would have dropped it, right? I don't think it would be hard, I think, to hold on to an iPod when you're like...
I can totally see having lost it in the chaos.
I think it's a little like I think from like a story aspect, it would be cooler not to just like instantly destroy the iPod. That's David's thought. Does anyone have a different thought?
Well, I think you're presuming that destroying the iPod kills it.
Maybe you could find a way to use the iPod to like command or control him in some way.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Oh, we actually know that Jackson has a habit of stealing iPods. Maybe I lash out, and like in the little pincer arms of the head is the iPod, like threatening Oliver to like back off.
Oh, cool. I like that a lot. Okay. So, do you think that's like getting your way? Well, we use that as a move. Rising to the moment? Probably rising to the moment, I think, hey? When
Okay,
you
yeah.
choose...
Yeah, I'm kind of like landing in between Laszlo and Oliver, and like basically, yeah, I can see that being rise to the moment.
Mm-hmm. So what are you afraid will happen?
Sorry, Mark. I'm afraid I'll land on Felix.
Sounds good. Interesting fear. Everyone's still learning coordination when they're kids, right?
So I think I'm definitely tagging skills.
I laugh every time that's tagged.
I'm probably eccentric. Yeah, this is pretty hard on the sleeve. Like I care about Felix more than I care about hurting Oliver. I'm on the fence as to whether or not this is passionate or not.
Well, you're defending a friend, right?
Okay, yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah. So that's +2. I don't think I'm being curious or childish here, so. That is a 13. It didn't really matter.
All right, so 10 plus, describe how you step up and surmount the challenge and gain insight. Ask the MC any one question about the situation and take +1 forward. So it definitely works, right? And do you have a question about this situation?
Yes, how do I fix Oliver?
How do you fix Oliver? That's an interesting question.
Feel free to make this as savvy head of an answer as possible, because that's headspace Jackson is in.
Yeah, basically, I'll ask you how you know this maybe, but you realize that this Oliver, this vampire Oliver, is like the robot form gone bad of the Oliver trapped in the silo, like your friend, right? And it's like he basically what happened was when he was going to take distress, the HM people, the adult world, put him in the silo, and when he overflowed, they took that energy and they created this vampire Oliver instead. So they like used the power that he had, within him to create like a alternate vampire evil method of him. So if you essentially, I guess, deal with the Oliver friend that you do like know back is in the silo, that would cut off Oliver. And we don't really know, I guess, what will happen with the iPod, but you can probably surmise that it's some sort of like the remote control of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like H&M's or HM, not H&M. It is not the clothing brand, as far as I know. HM had to create this thing in order to control it because that's what they do, basically.
I think the way I know this is like my robot like has pulled off the back of the iPad and is like prodding the little connection leads and is like, prodding it to see, to try to figure it out.
Cool. And so, yeah, with the remote control, especially being threatened, he sort of like does what you want, right? He like backs up and does the like, let's just calm down thing, right? He still has the evil glint in his glasses, of course, though. And remember that you take +1 forward when acting on that information.
Okay.
Felix, what do you think you're up to?
Well, I think at this point, like, Oliver isn't standing over me, so I've had a chance to like grab at my throat, but it's put me into a, how do you pronounce it, paroxysm of coughing, and like I'm looking up, and Jackson has done exactly what I had said, to use the iPod against him. And it seems like this Oliver is doing what we're telling him to do. And since anime characters seem to know the meta plot, as soon as one person discovers the meta plot, I'll be like in a hoarse voice. I'm sure it was really hard for the voice actor to do because I can't do it. Is like, take us to the real Oliver. Take us to our friend. And I guess I'm just trying to get what I want. So, let's see. I'm obsessed. Oh, by the way, my last level up that I got last session, you said I could give myself a new trait. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. So I gave myself the trait of sacrificial.
Oh, cool.
But for this one, I think obsessed is best. And stern and leader. And does Oliver the vampire have any label? I guess I can't. I'm always a little confused on that. So
you could hit his label. I don't see any though. Let me check my other document and make sure. Don't see any on him.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Don't think so.
So that's 2d6 plus 1 then.
Cool.
That would be a 12.
That's pretty good. Cool. Okay, so and you also clear 1 distress if you want.
Okay.
So you give them a label and they choose a reaction below. Yeah, cool. Okay, so you say that to take lead us to the real Oliver, right?
Yeah, I'm going to give him the label connected, implying that he's connected to the other Oliver.
Oh yeah, cool. Got it. Okay, cool. So, I think what happens is he does the evil villain smile, pushing up his glasses, of course, right? And he sort of like nods, and he what will be cool? Ooh, I know. He like swats at the air, is what it initially looks like, and it looks like his hands form around like an invisible cord, kind of, and then he like rips it up, and it whatchamacallit, like bursts right out of the ground, leading the way, like anime style, where it's just like it would be like Goku doing some crazy shit or whatever, except that it's a cord bursting up, and it's like bursting up all along the way, leading to this like silo in the distance, to HM, right? To Megalotronics. And then he, I guess, starts walking the distance with you all. Here's the question though, Kit. Are you still going to stay a robot, or are you going to do something with your move, or what are you doing?
Damn it. I'm so torn because I love the idea of like keeping Laszlo safe in my chest cavity as a human, if Laszlo is amenable to that. But I don't know how, like, if just being a robot for the foreseeable scenes is going to be like too big.
Well, I mean, you know where he is already, so you could just like teleport too, right?
Yeah, I could.
Because of your label being placed on him.
Yeah. Literally the only metagaming I've done in a game ever in my life.
Yeah.
I may make a super jump there. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be a teleport for sure.
Yeah, and I could fully do that with Laszlo because that's not going to hurt Laszlo at all. Seeing me teleport to where Oliver is because I'm matched.
No,
to
it's
Oliver.
fine. Just trap me and bring me along and make me watch.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds cool. Yeah, and I'll fully take you there in my chest cavity where you're safe, where my heart is.
Okay, cool. So is it a teleport or a big jump or what is it? So
A big jump is seems pretty on point for Fooly Cooly. Like
yeah.
it's a town where like nothing happens and everything's the same. So of course there's like a massive localized earthquake when this maker robot like super jumps over to the HM
Right.
building.
Cool. So 2 things happen. You jump over there and let me see.
Jackson, do I ride on your mecha too?
I'm actually torn as to whether Jackson demechanizes or not.
Well, hold that thought. This might I might inform that decision in a second. So I think you jump there. There's a large silo, like a grain silo thing, right? Like it was. I think I described it as being like strange that it was on the compound, right? Because it's like obviously they're not farmers. So what are they storing there, etc. And then once you land, the earth kind of rumbles away. Robot anime action stuff happens, mecha things. And I think the top of the grain silo like splits open and bursts, and grain doesn't come out. Instead, we see like a giant what I'm picturing is definitely I can't remember what episode of FLCL it is, but it's the gunslinger huge robot.
One that's
what?
The one that was a hand.
It becomes the hand after it gets killed, right? In the anime. At first, he's like the John Wayne gunslinger thing with the hat
and the poncho.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think as it's like revealed more is the reason why it has so many limbs is it's actually like a hand underneath the poncho.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So it's not a hand though. it just looks like a giant kind of cylindrical. So it's like it fills up the space of the silo, but then like arms come out, and it doesn't have giant guns or anything, but it looks like that shape. And it has, instead of a poncho, a blue baseball cap that's turned back, as the kids do. But it's still sitting in such a way as the same as the FLCL robot, where it covers their eyes and stuff like that, right? Like it's masking their features. And the silo splits apart as it continues to grow, just like completely blows up, essentially. And I have a question for, let's see. So, Kit, what about this form manifests as, or what do you see in it as codependent and haunted? Because that was what was released the last time. How does this form seem haunted to you or appears that way to everybody on screen? It could be either or. Oh, thanks for the picture. It's a lot more helpful.
I guess the only thing I can think of is to represent codependency with like chains or something, like where I kind of like perhaps it's manacle. It's free, it can move around and stuff, but it has like manacles and chains kind of like draping off of it. They jangle and stuff, and it's very eerie.
Yeah, cool. And it's also, I think, reinforced from being connected to Evil Oliver too, right? Like there's the cord that runs between them.
Yeah, yes, that's definitely it. Thank you.
And what about Haunted?
Do you answer that one again as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
because you release both of those things.
Oh, I see.
These are your repressed things / what that means mechanically, as well as when you release bad traits into the world, you make like a bigger, meaner. Well, it doesn't have to be meaner. I shouldn't say that. Just like a bigger, more powerful thing into the world that you need to fight. And then when you fight these things and you beat them, that is how you get more NO, which is like your power level scaling up at the end of the session. If you have defeated something that embodies some of your repressed bad traits, then you increase in your power level.
I feel like it's for me. It's looking visually like it's literally a bit ghost-like. Like the closer you get to the ground, it becomes more transparent and like ethereal and eerie. Which I kind of dig with like the chains and stuff, right? 'Cause it's very like spooky, like jangling chains, ghosts, like transparency kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like that a lot too, especially for what we know of Oliver and the fact that he was like alone in this silo for a while, right? It's almost like he's, it's all very sad. And then Laszlo, what about this creature is guilty?
I think in the like screeching of these chains and things rubbing against each other and the sort of haunted sounds coming off of it, like it sets up a resonance that sort of like hits you like a wave, and we get these sort of shots into each person's head as we show up of just like all the things, all the sins, all the little infractions that you're guilty about. This is some sort of like the sound is like it's coming to a fury coming to address all of your problems there.
Cool, that's terrifying. So that's what you're up against. Also, I think also we had seeded this with Jackson's meandering as well. So when you engage this like this creature of Oliver, his sort of, mecha-ish form there that you're going up against, you can also use all of those things as labels to tap and try to defeat him as well. So there also, this forms hit points as well as labels that you can use. So you have connected, codependent, guilty, haunted, meandering, and then the NO that he has makes up total hit points that you need to reach, unless you think of something cool like Windmark sort of diffuse the situation with that other creature on the by adding a label and taking them out of the womb and stuff like that. That stuff's still possible, but that's just how I wanted to be transparent about all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, that happens. Sounds like a scary creature. So change and like transparent and haunting and all the things are happening.
And it also has the label that it got at the beginning of the session from Kit.
What was that?
Matched pair.
Oh yeah. Magistrate. Thanks for reminding me. Right. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Like the idea of Lasso being able to control. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Interesting. Ratatouille, yeah. Okay, cool. So, yeah, you guys see Kit hurl off into the distance with Laszlo, right? This form bursts out of the silo. It looks pretty scary, presumably, to people. So, yeah, what is Felix and Jackson up to? Where's your heads at? It might inform if you stay a robot or not.
I think like Jackson's body gives like this odd little rattle, and then the explosion of the robot happens, and like so it's very apparent that Jackson's robot body wants to fall apart, but he's trying to hold it together right now. Felix, are you okay with riding on the back of Jackson while it flings itself in the air awkwardly at the robot?
Let's go for it.
Cool. Okay. Awesome.
I think what happens is like Felix is like riding on the main body and just starts galloping, and at some point stumbles, starts falling forward, and then its head just whips at the ground, flinging it up into the air.
Nice. Okay. Sounds good. So you guys are on your way. Felix, I have a question for you. Does this cause you distress?
I think it does.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So you can mark that and you can overflow when dramatically appropriate.
Okay.
If you want to ride there first and then change, or change now, it's up to you, whatever you want.
Okay. Just I'd like to have the silo monster do something, and then I'd like to react to it. So.
Sure. Okay. So Kit, this happens. What do you want to do?
So this is a big, scary muster of all of our insecurities.
Yes.
Okay. I guess I want to fight it.
Yeah, especially. Well, how does it make you feel too, seeing your own kind of repressed traits in it? What is Kit thinking?
I think initially she feels cowed and quite afraid, but I think as soon as she catches herself like feeling fear, she's like, no, fuck that. I'm in like a robot made of makeup. Like, of course I can beat the shit out of that thing. I'm not a fucking coward.
Yeah. Yes. Sounds good. Okay, so how do you fight back against this manifested fear of yours?
Okay. So it would be it would be predictable just to shoot it with lipstick. So I think what she probably does instead is like she got a bit beaten up by Laszlo, so she probably has some like superficial damage to her mech. So we probably get a like shot of her like trying to buff her like face up a bit, so it just looks so like to get a looking good beat kind of thing. I reckon she like she pulls off one of the lipstick tubes and like puts a really healthy coating of lipstick. Probably have too much lipstick over her robot lips, and then like projects like a like really bright pink laser out of her mouth, like at this thing, just of light to like dissipate all the haunted darkness that's it's shrouded in.
Awesome. I like that a lot. Cool. So it sounds like you're You're tapping haunted.
Please.
Oh, Patrick, are you helping?
Yeah, I was
Hey, what do you
trying to
think?
figure out how the using a label to help or hinder, but I want to help her, but how that works.
You would tap one of the creature's labels to get more fictional positioning on it, and then increase kits by +1. So you have matched pair, connected, codependent, haunted, guilty, and meandering. There's a lot.
Ooh, okay. It's totally matched pair. So I see like being inside of Kitbot's chest. There are all these like cables and wires running around everywhere. And I've grabbed like a couple handfuls of them, and I just as she's like lumbering forward and going and getting ready into the fight, I'm mirroring the like ballroom dance steps that we'd done on top of the train when I was like helping her get out of the way of stuff, but I'm spinning around like the wires are sort of what I'm dancing with, but it makes the kitbot sort of go forward into a roll and a spin in this obvious dance move as it's coming in, and the gunslinger bot, like he just feels this call. He's matched with her. The two of them have to be paired together. So he goes into this very predictable role so that right as Kit gets up to him, she knows exactly where he's going to be.
Sweet. Love it. That's some good stuff right there. Okay, so what else are you? So you get the +1 from that. What else are you taking?
I am probably tagging. I feel like improvisational. Like I with like working with Laszlo.
Shooting a light out of your mouth. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
The kiss of death.
Yeah. What else?
I'm feeling pretty.
Remember, in order to do the most damage, you want to be tagging as many traits as possible. If that makes sense.
Traits as possible. I guess like audacious in it. So, like this feels pretty bold and like audacious.
Yeah.
And maybe even flexible because I'm working with someone. Like I was so closed off and isolated with this one relationship I had, but now I'm working together with someone.
Sure, I'll give it to you. Sure. Okay, so 3, and then you have a +2 bonus, and then any labels?
I think. I'm trying to figure out how to tap into hot and cold. I wonder if that's applicable just because it keeps pendulum swinging with like Laszlo, where I'm really mean and cold to Laszlo, or like we're together and in sync and everything's amazing.
Yeah, but you're attacking.
I'm attacking Oliver.
Yeah. If you were attacking Laszlo, I'd say sure.
I can't see any of these higher. Yeah, I think it's just whatever we said.
Okay, so you get the +2 from the other stuff, and then 3. So you get a one. I think you're still at a +3 anyway, and then you don't have any minuses, right? Because you didn't take distress. So yeah, you're ideal in this fight.
I got a 10.
Cool. So you inflict up to as many distress as the number of traits tagged in a roll, and you choose one.
Which list is this from? The lash out one?
Lash out, yeah.
Oh, cool. I think. Ooh. I think does it make sense to get a label? I just like being labeled.
Well, I think if they give you a label, then it'll it's possible that they could like what I'll probably do is if you take distress in the future from this robot, they'll tag a label to do more harm to you.
Oh, I see. So like takes a little bit of harm now, or like more harm later, kind of thing.
Well, this is you. They give you a label, right? They learn something about your nature and give you a label. So you'll still be doing the amount of harm that you expected to do, and then you'll gain a label, which I'll most likely try to use to hurt you. This is how I do.
Okay. Sure, why not? This is the ultimate station, right?
Sure.
I'll take a label. Why not? It sounds fun. Label me.
Okay, let's see. I want something that's like, now your friends show up. Well, I think I'll just go simple and say selfish. And then you did 3 harm to it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease, whatchamacallit, or I'll increase its harm, right? Like, because it's taken damage. But by doing that, I'm also going to get rid of Haunted, because that's what you were mainly targeting when you were doing that, it seemed like. So you can't use that label in the future on them. But you can tell me what it means. Like, how does your light cancel out the Haunted effect, which you said was it being kind of like transparent and like unable to... It seemed like maybe he was kind of fading out from the world or something like that, right?
Yeah, it probably like illuminates and fills in like the missing light, so it takes on like a very like real tactile quality to it, like it felt its feet fill in or whatever, and like the chains are dragging along the ground and probably causing damage to the road and stuff, because like they're real now. It's not like this haunted fictitious thing that was scaring me. It's a thing you can take down and beat.
Right. Awesome. I like that a lot. And then I think as Jackson and Felix arrives, like I think this creature sort of, how does it express pain? There's probably some like Godzilla-esque screaming quality to it, right? Not quite like Godzilla, of course, but some loud, thunderous thing. And what happens though is this creature with the hands reaches out and takes its chains and whips them around, and in the chains is additionally the cord that evil Oliver is attached to, and it swings it around wildly and makes it so that as Jackson and Felix are incoming, the form of evil or vampire Oliver is whipping at you folk as well. So what do each of you do? Like in an anime style, it looks like he's like flying through the air, right? Like the lines are whooshing through him, and he's got like white eyes with glasses, and he's just like zooming through the air at you. He's looking real militant, Felix. What do you want to do?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I think what happens for me is that Jackson lands on the ground, and I roll off just tumbling, and you see this like healthcare bracelet around my wrist that you haven't really seen before, and it's got like the caduceus on it and stuff like that, and it's starting to beep, and I look up, and all of a sudden all the sunlight's gone. There's like this shadow, and what's happening is like there's this giant ball flying in from the sky, and it's got like the hamster logo on it and stuff like that, and it's got like a like a hospital little cross on it as well, and it flies down and like rolls around, grabbing me, and so like I'm still rolling, and then all these like IV tubes are flowing into me, because it's kind of like a mixture of the hamster ball plus a bubble boy situation where it's trying to take care of my health. And I as I get really close to the vampire Oliver, I end up hitting this rock, and now I'm like kind of in control of the ball, and I'm rolling towards, like I'm not moving, but the ball is rolling, and it's moving upwards the chains and cables, and I my goal is to go straight for its throat, because my ball kind of mouth opens up with teeth, and I'm going to vampire bite the silo monster.
Cool.
So I've gone robot. What do I need to do?
Yeah. So your harm track is now your good repressed traits, and your like all the good traits on both sides, repressed and your regular traits, become your harm track.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what that means is now when you're taking traits as well, you can take your repressed good trait too, whichever that might be.
Okay.
And yeah. And then now it sounds like you're lashing out.
Yeah,
Biting.
I'm lashing out. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Okay. So I can use brave now because that's one of my good traits. And I'll also use I don't think I'm quite being sacrificial. Well, I'm sacrificing like my I'm ill right now, but I'm still moving forward, so I'm going to go with sacrificial as well.
Sure.
And obsessed, and then
Untapped, right?
untapped, right? And kind of morbid what I'm doing.
That's fair. Yeah.
So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so I release my bad traits, by the way, into the world.
Which is what?
Stained and wrong attraction.
Okay. Sounds good. We can get to that this session. Those are some good ones. All right.
So that's 2d6 plus 3, I think.
Yes.
Well, I also used the connected thing because I was using the cord.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. And then I think it goes back to 3 because you took distress before, right? So you have a -1 ongoing.
I have 2 distress now, so I guess it's -2 ongoing.
Yeah, there you go.
So 2d6 plus 2 because it was 2d6 plus 4.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I lash out physically, and I roll snake eyes.
Oh.
So that is a total of 4.
Total of 4. Okay, cool. And you were going for the throat, right?
Yeah, something like that.
And you were specifically attacking kind of like connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. So I think what happens is, let's see. First, let's see what your traits are here. I think you're going to take, first of all, take 1 harm and then take a powerful blow, I think, as it's all going to plan at first as is this ball what I'm kind of looking in my head is kind of like the Mario balls, right? The black things with the mouse. Is it kind of like that?
Oh yeah. That works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's obviously more like like less kiddish, right?
Yeah, it's very much looks like something from the adult world.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So I think you're going in for the throat, and that's when the cord whips around, and we see the vampire Oliver come in, and he smashes the ball, and it's very like DBZ style, where like there's an indent at first, and then the ball goes like flying, right? And that's why you take a powerful blow with 1 harm.
I don't remember ever marking it, but my sheet currently says 4 out of 4 harm, so I'm not sure what's going on, what I should have or not.
No, you should be at 0 harm, I think.
Yeah, sorry, I was just tracking harm in the opposite direction.
Oh, I have 4 out of 4. Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay, yeah.
Now I
doesn't make much sense with how distress is. You're very right.
So now I've got 3 harm remaining, and let me take a look here at the rule, and it says when you take a powerful blow, emotion physically, roll 2d6. Okay, I have 2d6 I can roll. That's not a problem.
Cool.
And I got a 6 total.
6.
And I guess that leaves it all up to you. And that's 2 experience points for me, so I'll just go ahead and mark
it. Before Felix. Yeah. I wonder if I should codify it so that failures are more from choice, because I don't really like... Yeah, let's say that... Let's say that... Choose 3 from the 7 of 9 instead.
Choose 3? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I don't really like taking away agency on a move like this, I think, and telling you.
Okay.
But it's still bad because all the 4 things are really bad. So
I don't like any of these.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the easy one. A part of me is cut off, representing a good trait. Cross it off.
The easy one.
So I'll get rid of obsessed for now.
Okay, and what does that look like?
So it's the final session, so I'm just gonna go ahead and reveal my mission. My mission was to find a real vampire in order to discover the secret that the adults have in this town. So, and that was my obsession. And so, I think at this point, I think I'll in the future I'll let the adults be more secretive. I'm not going to be obsessed with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, and you can always gain it back to later. So it's just sort of the anime like nursing your wounds until you get it back, right?
Yeah. And so I guess I have like a thought sequence in my head where the audience can hear me say things like, what was it all worth it? Was doing what I've done, worth all the harm it's caused me? And so I can still be selfish, but not so much obsessed.
Right.
And okay. You give your opponent an opportunity, choose another PC to take a powerful blow. I think that's going to have to be Jackson.
The chains are coming, bro.
And I endure the pain. I'll take a harm and add a bad trait to be repressed. So let me put down that I have 2 out of 4 harm remaining. And erase my previous bad traits. And let's see. What's a trait that I can have now? How about something with my, I was gonna say something with my illness, but I don't know, something, it's easier to do things that are emotional. How about angry? Would angry work?
Yeah, I think that's super fair.
Okay. So now I have a retressed trait of angry.
Yeah, and before Jackson takes a powerful blow, which is just going to be the same chains whipping out, right? I had said the chains were coming for both y'all. So with the sort of like meta revelations of what happened with Oliver and all that kind of stuff from Jackson's role that everybody knows in the fiction now, what does Felix think about the plan? Like, did Felix put together what the adults had done to Oliver and what they had been doing and stuff like that, based on what Jackson had found out, or is it still like he's in the dark and getting like kind of beat it?
I think it's a little mix of both. Like, I know the idea is to tap into overflow robot powers, but I don't know what else they like. This is not their only silo. This is not their only, experiment. This won't end at all. I've discovered all of this just to realize that, they have so much more resources than kids do. So how would I ever stop them altogether?
Right. Totally. Okay, cool. So Jackson, take a powerful blow.
Ow.
Those chains, they coming.
It's a 2.
Oh, so choose 3. Like it could just be a cascading effect where everyone's just getting messed up.
Wanted to fail because like the 10 plus is worse than the 7 to 9.
I guess so, depending on how you look at it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, that is weird because the 10 plus list is worse than the 7 to 9 list.
Yeah, but when I read this move, I'm like, oh, it's the hard move from Apocalypse, where if you fail, there's no additional consequences. But if you succeed, if you hit on that roll, then there are those additional consequences.
Oh yeah, I probably just mixed up the pick list choice ones. Maybe I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I took the move exactly from Mass and then just changed the options to this game. So I don't know. I'll have to look at that after. But for now, you could just do the same thing that Mark did.
Well, I'll take the harm and go on. So 2 out of 3 harm. Share the love and throw this at Laszlo. And I'm going to lose myself and verbally attack another PC. I think in like a robotic humming voice, you just hear like Jackson blaming Kit for this whole mess, and it's like it if you if you hadn't been playing with all of our emotions, we would have been prepared for this.
Okay, what was the label again? I think I missed that.
I'm gonna go with "Your Fault" is the label.
Oh.
Oh wow, there was so much crazy discourse happening about gender here.
Cool. And then you have one more choice, I think, right?
I'm putting Laszlo in danger. I think what happened was the blow from the cables threw me into the chest cavity where Laszlo is. So that it's hearing this and why Laszlo's in trouble.
Okay. So
why don't you have airbags in here?
Yeah, in the secret heart of a robot. Okay, so you're having Jackson take a powerful blow as well?
Laszlo.
Or Laszlo, yeah, sorry. Cool. Whew. Chain of fools.
Well, I rolled an 8. I don't know what's wrong with these people.
So you only had to choose one.
It's real tempting.
Like it's palpable. I can feel it all the way over here.
Yeah, why not? It's everyone else has. I think this reverberates through the netting of like wires that I'm tied up in. So I sort of get tangled up, but have like a crash cage. But I'm pulling on vital systems or whatever for you.
Okay. Jeez, I'm gonna have to put like a note being like, once everybody has taken a powerful blow, you can't choose this again.
We just spend the rest of the session chaining around.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess roll take a powerful blow as well. I'll take another one. Everyone's just getting beat up, and I just like, well, call it a day.
Yeah, you don't even need bad guys. We're our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
I didn't know TPKs existed in Powered by the Apocalypse.
Only by player agency.
Is this just a flat roll, or do I like?
It's a flat roll.
Oh, yeah. Cool. No problemo. I got a 9.
Cool. So just choose one.
Choose one. Oh, it's really tempting to.
I land on Felix's ball.
Ooh. Ooh. I kind of want to verbally attack Jackson back, because Jackson's been real mean to me for no reason.
For breaking Laszlo's heart.
I'm just being myself, and you just can't handle the fact that I'm an empowered young woman. I think you're jealous of me. So I'm going to give you the label jealous.
Okay. No, that's fair. I think Jackson is definitely jealous of the attention Laszlo's been giving you. So
yeah, I thought that felt appropriate. You wish you were me. Don't lie.
Oh, okay. So, oh yeah, here's another question to Laszlo. Did you take, do you take distress from this and robot out, or are you a human getting beat around still?
It would be very appropriate for Laszlo to like burst forth as a robot from my heart.
Yeah, just because I'd really love the chance to do a fight together finally, and I don't want to be left out if we do a fight together.
Sure, yeah. Sounds good. It seems at this point, fight together has better chances for you all than lash out. I like that. The chain of events was really fun there, though.
So yeah, I think Jackson hits Jackson bot hits Kit bot in the chest, and there is like some crumple and damage there, and just like comes spilling out slowly, and then more and more in this rush are all these like red cables, like streamers of blood coming out of a wound, until like forming up from the feet up and the ground up. There's Laszlo bot again. I think maybe with some like wood trim on the speakers that come out of him now. Just something carried over from Kit there.
Cool. All right. And on that note, let's take a 5-minute break and then come back and see what happens. Let's come back at the 33. Sound good? Cool.
Patrick, I love that imagery of the Sailor Moon thing, plus like the visceral guts, like blood
like
stuff.
spilling out.
Yes, it's very disturbing, and I love it to pieces.
What's disturbing?
Oh, mashing together, like, so I was thinking like Sailor Moon, like Pink Heart's like transformation stuff mixed with like Patrick's description of the visceral, like blood, sinew, guts, strings stuff, and I was like, that's amazing. It's so gross.
Yeah.
That's for Sailor Cthulhu.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
I think for Take a Powerful Blow, actually, I'll rework it. I like a lot of the options, but I don't know. It's I don't like that if you fail, you're just like, it's over, you know? Like, that would be boring for everybody else. Like, if you choose to remove yourself from a situation, pass out, run away, etc.
Yeah, so I
Me.
went back and looked at the masks one, which is instead of a flat roll, it's plus like the bad conditions you've taken.
Oh,
So it's a roll where the higher you roll, the worse it is because you're adding bad stuff into the roll.
gotcha.
So on a 6-, on a miss you stand strong, mark potential as normal, and say how you weather the blow. So
okay.
on that one, the 6- is actually the best result.
Oh, okay. Cool.
The idea of it is it's basically always a move that gets triggered off of another move. So
Yeah.
you're never like, it's does the situation get more complicated? Not does nothing happen.
Right. Yeah, so we can, I guess, going forward, we can make it so that the people who failed are getting fucked over.
But you could also change it into something like, instead of the flat 2d6, like 2d6 plus the stress you've taken or something like that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that sounds good. Mine is good. That's what my note says. Not bad. Cool. All right, so. All right. Laszlo bursts forth, right? What do you want to do as a robot? Are we all fighting together?
I think so, yeah. I think there's this giant threat that's in front of us and has chains everywhere, and Kit and I have come to at least a momentary detente. We yelled at each other and we both feel a little bit better, and then we danced and we both feel a little bit better.
Yeah, that's healthy, right?
Yeah, totally.
Epic.
Just bottle up the rest of that rage for later. It'll be fine.
Cool. And you've already landed a pretty solid hit on it too, so that'll be good. Okay, so everybody rolls like normal, and remember, I'll paste again what Oliver's labels are. So if you hit on them, then you can get a bonus. And
So it says on a 10 plus twice. I think the first one is supposed to be 12 plus.
oh yeah, that's correct. Fight together. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you all too. I hired Jabari Weathers to do some artwork for it too. So that should be cool. I just clinched that yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super happy with Fight Together still. I'd like it to be more cooperative. Like the way it was before, it was just I liked the outcomes, but it was so overly complex way of getting there. Basically, people would all roll, and then you were combining dice from other players to make a target number that the MC would set by rolling the bad guy's stats, essentially. And so that way you had to like work together on a player level because you would need to like figure out the target number by attacking the creature or whatever it was, and then probe. Once you knew the target number, you'd have to assemble your dice pools in order to hit it, in order to do damage, right? So it was more like a teamwork thing, but I just wasn't too convinced that was the most elegant way of achieving it. And then this is sort of like the opposite for me, where it feels very like it's basically just the world's in peril when people fight people, right? Move. So
Have you thought about maybe a diceless move for it and just like do completely narrative triggers?
yeah, that's what I was thinking just today because I was listening to the Friends of the Table Firebrands thing, and I was like, interesting. If it was like that,
Because
that'd be cool.
yeah, every time I think about the tone of Fight Together, I think of the Threadbare fight song move.
Oh, I haven't read that yet.
It's basically you do a montage scene and then everyone takes harm.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't think doing that exactly is going to be is right, but I think that's like I think it draws a very similar place in my mind of like what's going on in the scene.
Yeah. Well, and something I just thought of too is that it's really hard in Fight Together as written right now to tag things on Oliver because you're gaining hold that you'll use later on him, right? So you could describe like what you're doing to fight together to get the hold, but it feels like a weird way of getting more of a dice pool on the fight currently, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because we have no nose, so we can't just use it to inflict harm.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
So I kind of have an idea.
Sure.
Just throwing it out there. If I imagined that we were all fighting against the labels that Oliver has, if I could find a way to counteract connected, and Kit could find a way to counteract codependent, et cetera, once we'd gotten once we had neutralized those labels, then like a weakness would open up, something that we could all attack or something like that.
Yeah, that's
like fighting the narration that's gone into it, fighting against the bad traits that we put into it, and then revealing a weakness that we could all use to hit or something like that. That was
counteract. Yeah, because I am making it so that when you attack, you can target one of those things to take it down, but Fight Together doesn't do that. So I think maybe let's not use Fight Together, and we'll just keep fighting the way that we had before, because that gets better results. Because when you lash out, you can tag the specific thing that you're attacking, and then just like when Kit defeated Haunted, you get to narrate how that trait or the label becomes undone in them, right? And as far as opening up a weakness, I think you could do that with Shape the World, just like you did with the creature on the train, right? Where you added the detail where you could kind of circumvent that stuff and end it in a really neat way. So it might not be perfect yet, but I think it'll lead to a lot more interesting results than Fight Together. So let's not Fight Together. Is that okay with everybody? Cool. So bearing that in mind, Laszlo, do you want to lash out or what do you want to do?
You said it would be like Shape the World to open up or reveal a weakness in it?
Yeah, because you would just add that detail.
And we had haunted was the one thing we'd gotten rid of, right?
Yes. So you have matched pair, which is like just a label that you placed on it, but I haven't counted it as HP because it's sort of like a nebulous thing placed on it by Kit. Connected, codependent, guilty, meandering, and then it has its hit points. It's harm track.
Cool. Could I? Because visually, what I'm seeing is like ooh, I even like possibly working together with Kit on this, so that like as I'm coming out of her chest, some of these wires, these strings, like they still go back to her and connect into her body, but I'm pulling them taut. There's oh, my musical knowledge is failing me. 4 or 5 of them, but it's like the strings on a cello. As I'm stretching out from her. And I tell you to start playing, and I think as you like start bowing or however across the strings, oh nice, yeah, on so many levels. As you do that, the strings begin to vibrate, and it vibrates through Laszlo's whole like wire form, and he reaches out and grabs the chains, and this vibration like shakes down them into the giant robot. And I'm wondering if maybe I can like share my fragile label with him. Is that something that could happen?
Yeah, that sounds cool. So yeah, I think we would be shaping the world with that, right?
Okay, cool.
Or it could be getting your way if you want to place a label on them. But I think either of them could work. It just depends on what fiction. Because shaping the world, the detail could be that they have the fragility trait. Getting your way, if you do well, you just place a label on them anyway.
Maybe shape the world. I haven't done that one yet.
Sure, sounds good. And you're tagging his connected, was it, or codependent?
Connected. I'm reaching out and grabbing those chains, and or which codependent was the chains, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going after. The codependent.
Cool.
Empathetic and experimental.
Yeah.
Fragile. Digital haunting.
Digital haunting. I like that.
And then I'm tagging the codependent on him.
Cool.
And then 2, 3, 4, 5.
And then you're minusing your distress.
I cleared distress when I came out last time.
You and Kit are good fighters at the moment, anyway.
Okay. So roll for your party is loading now. It'll get there eventually. There we go. This plus 3 is, good lord, 13.
Nice. That's pretty good. Okay. So how much damage was that? Or how many traits did you take?
3, 2 on me, 1 on him.
Gotcha. And...
Or no, traits. I'm sorry. I always keep thinking labels. I tagged 2 traits.
2 traits. Cool. And then, so codependent is gone, so you can narrate that in it. So you do your damage, and you choose one from the list below, but it is also momentous, a rare perfect moment of grace, or it is dehumanizing to you or to your opponent, your choice.
Oh, what is this fight alone? Or
oh,
what?
Wait, sorry, you're shaping the world, right?
Flash out. Yeah.
I forgot. I thought you were lashing out. I thought you were lashing out at first.
So yeah, the detail I was trying to reveal is that he also has this fragile trait now.
Cool.
10 plus, I get to ask a follow-up question. Yeah, I'm connected. I'm tapped in on him, and we're sort of vibrating at the same wavelength right now. What is he after? What does he want? What's driving him through this rampage right now?
So essentially there's two things. There's like a unbridled kind of fear still there from when he was like alone and trapped in the silo and all that kind of stuff. And two is there's some control being exercised on him because the iPod is still in play as well. Yeah. Which I guess Jackson still has, right? Unless you gave it back. Maybe when you hit the when you took a blow it went flying or something, but
I like the idea that it went flying up in the air and it hasn't hit the ground yet. So someone can like take it or hit it out of the air or something.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good. So yeah, there's he's still there's the fear, and then he's being controlled by the adult world essentially.
Then yeah, I'll yell out, it's the iPod. It's what they're using to control his soundtrack. We need to use it to shuffle him instead. Oh, it's terrible. Let's go.
I love it. And I like how Felix is like, yeah. Cool. Okay, so anyone can tag Fragile now as well. And so I think it would be Felix. How you feeling, Felix?
Well, I imagine that, like the transparent ball is like starting to flood as I've been taking harm, and like my blood is mixing with its oil or whatever, and you can see like it's up to like my calves now, and so I'm looking very pale, and so I'm aiming to get knocked up into the air to grab the iPod. So I want to provoke Mecha Oliver into hitting me that direction.
Interesting.
So I guess I'm going to try to get my way.
It could be that, or it could be rising to the moment.
Not pregnant, no.
Yeah, I saw Lauren's face and assumed that's what she was thinking as well. She was like, I'm looking to get knocked up. Anybody?
What game are we playing? I'm confused.
Yeah. So, yeah, are you choosing to act despite consequences that frighten you, or are you looking to get your way normally?
I think I have fears, and I think the fear that I have is that I'll once again become damaged and unhelpful, that I'll stop being a good leader.
Right.
So, let's see here. I've got a screen with some words on it. There we go. So sacrificial and leader, and brave. So 2d6 plus 1.
Sounds good. Or are you tagging any of his?
Oh yeah, let's look at his list.
He's got connected, codependent, fragile now. Guilty, meandering, fragile, and match pair. He's got a lot. Pick one, anyone.
Let me see here. I'm going to scroll back up to the last time you put them on the screen.
And then plus fragile then.
Okay. Dang it. Now I can't find it.
Here, I'll just put it.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, okay, now there's a lot.
Okay. I'm going to use matched pair because it's paying attention to Kit and not to me. And it's trying to swap me out of the way so that it can be, I don't know, attracted to her. And yeah.
Cool.
All right, so that's 2d6 plus 2. And so that's 7 plus 2 is 9. And
so acting will leave you vulnerable. I think it will be just straight up like you're getting hurt as you do this, probably, right? Because you're looking to get shot up in the air, right?
yes.
Cool. So acting will leave you vulnerable. Back down or go through with it, your choice.
Will it knock me out of my robot?
Well, how much harm do you have left? 2?
Yes, I'm at 2 out of 4.
Yeah, so you'd still have 1 left. You'd just take 1.
Okay. All right, then I'll do that.
Cool. Let me just write it here. Which one did you take again of Oliver's in that role?
Matched pair.
Oh yeah, cool. Awesome. Okay, so you're sent flying up into the air in order to be able to strike the iPod, is it?
I was going to grab it and do what Laszlo told me to do and set it to shuffle.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So I think that can be part of it. So you set it to shuffle, and then that's when you get struck by flying Oliver chain robot one, the evil one, not the big one that's whipping around on the chains, right?
Okay.
So you get you take it's not a powerful blow, don't worry, but you get hit by him as he's going by, and you switch Oliver to shuffle. Interesting. Do you have a specific outcome that you want for that? What does Felix imagine that would do?
I imagine that it would well, what I do is I put it on shuffle and then I start flipping through songs really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to get as many of the old Oliver tracks to flow through. And so at the minimum, I'd like to distract him, but I'd like his purpose to change. I'd like his goals to change.
Interesting. That's cool. So I think what happens is you hit it on shuffle, you get struck by the whipping around codependent Oliver, evil one. And then right after that, though, I think there's like a change, like audibly too, in the anime episode of this. The songs are literally shuffling, right? And then as we land on, I don't know, something that Oliver would like, which is, in my head, it's always going to be a pillow song in this game, right? It's like Hybrid Rainbow or something. But
it reminds me of Detroit Metal City, where the lead singer of the metal band really likes Swedish pop music or whatever.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, pack of cannon, yeah. right after that, I think one of Oliver's hands reach out, like very quickly, and encompasses the evil Oliver in it, like kind of crushing him right in the hand, or at least holding him there. I guess it's not clear if he's crushing or not, but it's enveloped in this huge hand nonetheless. And so I think codependent is out of the picture here. And he sort of like warbles and waves, and it seems sort of clear that the influence of the adult society is gone, and what's left is the unbridled fear, right? So I think instead he starts charging in. Let's see, what is his feet like as this giant robot thing? No, that's stupid. At first I thought it would be like giant wheels or something that are rotating, but I don't like that. That's stupid. I think it's just like really big feet, like he's growing as his fear. It's almost like the adult world's control had him in such a way that he didn't realize what was happening, and so it was almost like limiting his power. And when it's encompassed, he grows more afraid and not more powerful, but the fear kind of takes over. He grows larger to the size of like an FLCL. And so his feet are huge as well, and he begins stomping in a very like fight or flight kind of thing. Like his goal is to get away, except that he's moving towards the town, right, where he might like crush and hurt folks. Maybe fight together simply means that every 7+ knocks out one of the label of the creatures. Oh yeah, that might be cool. Yeah. I think what I'll probably end up doing though, honestly, is we'll see, I guess, if it works, but I like the idea of coming up with like a lot of open-ended, evocative selections, just like in Firebrands and those other types of minigame games. And then they have a mechanical effect as well with them. Something like that I think would be good and would be emblematic of anime combat like this. But yeah, we'll see. That will be perhaps a hard design goal, so we'll see. But yeah, meanwhile, Felix's form is like hit and goes flying a little bit, right, anime style. And so what does Kit do?
I think this is a very good opportunity to like try and tap into Oliver's fear, because I think that's resonating a lot with Kit's fears of like being cowardly and stuff. So I kind of want to reject conformity.
Interesting. I like that.
Because I think like if we're playing Oliver songs, right, like you could fully have Kit playing the same song on her cello robot body.
Oh, interesting. And is it Pachelbel canon?
Oh, no, the cello line for Pachelbel's canon is so fucking boring. It's like it's 8 notes.
So not that one. Okay.
Yeah, whatever pillow song Oliver's playing on his iPod, she'll do a cello accompaniment to the song that's on all of his iPod. It's all of his music.
Cool.
I don't remember what music do we say was cool in session.
It was classic stuff, I believe.
Oh yeah, I believe it's like no, I'm gonna be really self-indulgent and say that it's like Bach's first cello suite.
Yeah, classical music, cello, 16-bit music, like MIDO, video game stuff as well. Yeah, Scott Pilgrim.
No, it's for sure Cello Suite Number 1 by Bach.
Okay. So you're rejecting conformity.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So I feel like I'm being sorry.
Are you gonna tap any of his stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I could tap a lot of that. I could fully tap connected or a matched pair or both. Maybe even like I could see fragile because like he's feeling really afraid right now and is quite vulnerable. I could see you tapping a lot of them.
Okay. Cool.
And in myself, I'm for sure being improvisational.
Mm-hmm.
And audacious. I almost want to say selfish because Cello Suite Number 1 is a solo piece that no one else can play. But I think it's probably improvisational, audacious, and connected, matched pair, and fragile. I think are the ones that are resonating the most.
Cool. And you don't have distress, right?
I do not have distress.
Cool.
So I rolled 2d6 and add some something.
Yeah, +3, right?
Okay. I got an 11.
Cool. And you were targeting fragile match pair.
I guess I could target fragile. Makes sense. Or connected, matched pair. I'm all of them sound good to me.
Matched pair and fragile aren't giving him hit points. They're just ways for us to attack him.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll take connected then.
Yeah, I'll take connected for 2 points, Alex.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
I have a rules question, Fraser.
Uh-huh.
When I lost one of my traits
Mm-hmm.
earlier on when I took a powerful blow, did that reduce the amount of harm that I could take?
Oh, yeah, because you took it while you were transformed, right?
Yep.
Interesting. We'll say no. We'll say it takes effect after, because otherwise that will leads to a bunch of confusion in a fight, I think.
Okay.
I'll make a note to codify that.
Because I've taken 3 harm and I had 4 hit points, and
Right.
then I lost a trait, so I didn't know if I was out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we'll say it takes effect after a fight. I made a note of that. Cool. All right, Jackson.
Oh, do I froze?
Or sorry.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, so you do break connected from him. He's still guilty and meandering, which I think is funny pair since he's going towards the
town.
Yeah, exactly. But you can tell me how exactly that happens.
Ooh. It's probably through the sort of like weird umbilical cord that was tying Oliver to something, right? Yeah, like the vibrations from the music I'm playing, like grabbing the umbilical cord and like having the vibrations, the music sort of travel up it and like sort of it's there because Kit is so huge, like the cello music is probably very deep and rumbling, so it's probably like creating like sort of mini tremors like isolated around like where Olive is like moving from. It's like it's there sort of like being an attempt to slow him down a bit to like stop him from being able to like move so quickly in this meandering state towards the town.
Well, he has that as a label, but he's moving pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, so I could see creating some kind of like tremors to to slow him down a bit.
Cool. So is it even like, is it sort of got the anime force field look? Like he's trying to move, but these like waves of sound are like even kind of like sucking him towards you, or creating a barrier or something? That would be fun.
100%.
Cool. And yeah, he's looking like he's definitely on his last ropes, I will say. Jackson, what do you want to do?
So Jackson is totally jealous that Kit has been playing Laszlo like an instrument. So I'm going to kind of take one of the effects of from the choices and use it in the fiction of how I'm doing the move. I think that Jackson's robot body shifts and turns into a giant old school microphone, with the graded cover and all of that, like from the 1950s, because that's kind of what the body looks like. And his head becomes the microphone stand, and it just like goes right in front of Laszlo's robots, and just like a screech from the speakers just creates that whole sound blast thing.
Cool. That sounds cool. All right.
So this is definitely being eccentric and childish, sleeves, jealous, and passionate.
Okay. Did you want to tag guilty or meandering, fragile, or match pair?
Fragile, definitely. Maybe matched pair, because I'm trying to be a pair with Laszlo, but I don't know if that works.
Well, I was thinking it was more like you're tagging it and kind of like you're tagging it, but almost in like a negative way, right? Like you're messing up their matched pair. It's kind of what it seems like.
Okay, yeah. I'm trying to change the dynamic. So let's see. That was 2 from him. 2 traits and 3 labels.
Okay. And are you hurt? Do you have distress?
I do have 1 distress.
Okay.
So that's a +4.
Let's see if that happens. Seems like odds are good.
That is an 8.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, one of the options is something I care about is put into danger, and I change my robot form because that's how I became the microphone. And I think they learned something about.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I already used selfish, but like you care more about what is happening with your friends than what is happening with Oliver, I think is how Oliver's feeling at the moment. So whatever codification of that is.
That might have some loaded language in it, though.
Yeah.
Maybe like callous.
Callous is good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the temporary advantage was what? Do you want it to be just more damage or what? In your microphone form. How much damage would you do?
Damage.
Did you say 2? Yeah. So he has 3. So.
Yeah, let's just do it more damage.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say, maybe I like improve other people's rolls, but it's like, well, if we're right at the end of the fight, anyways.
Yeah, and everyone took a turn too, so no need to prolong it, I think. Cool. All right, so interesting. I like that. So yeah, do you want to color the scene further than what you've already said?
So yeah, I think it's like it's the microphone right in front of the speakers, which is always a bad sound. And Laszlo the Laszlo bot like inhales as if it's about to make a really loud sound, and the whole screen goes silent. There's the view from space, and just this explosion of sound, wiping everything away.
Cool. Maybe even the iPod shatters then, right?
Yeah, I think after like it's like 3 shots repeated of like that sound wave, and then it goes in close to the iPod, and it just like shattering it into dust.
Cool. And so for defeating Oliver, he'll revert back to his human form. Do you think that he just sort of like decreases in size until he like because he was pushing up against that sort of force and it was dragging him back and stuff? Do you think he just like gets sucked towards Kit and like well, I don't know what the word with it like turns into a robot as he's being sucked?
I think like everything that was robot got blasted away, just leaving.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. All right. Oh, and then I guess on that, we can take a 5-minute break. Let's come back at 20. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Welcome to your victory. Cool. Yeah, so Oliver is like on the ground. He's got like I imagine like a plaid button-up shirt on and some like kind of Levi blue jeans, and has the same blue hat that the robot had on, except that it's not backwards. It's like really straight, and he's like passed out right in front of you all, I think. But before we do something with that, I just want to pull the table and see where everybody's headspace is at. So what is Jackson thinking after landing the blow and seeing Oliver come out of this alien form thing happening and etc.?
That's yeah. I guess I'd want to be know if Oliver is all right, and like, is he really back to normal? Is there like still issues with him?
Okay, sounds good. What is Kit thinking?
I always like can't look at Patrick as I'm saying this. For me it's like that shot of like I guess like Kit will do robot, but for me it's encapsulated within that scene where she locks eyes with Laszlo as they're both kids again, and she goes to like run at him, but actually she's running towards Oliver.
Where's the chef's kiss emoji or gif? I mean, cool.
That's amazing.
Are you trying to trigger a move with that?
No, I just wanted to be mean.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. No, of course not. I don't know. I'll need to reassess the rules.
Sure. Okay. What about Felix?
Well, actually, I'm really curious what I want to interact with Laszlo, but I want to know what Laszlo's doing before I do it. So, can Laszlo go first?
Sure. He sounds good. Yeah.
Laszlo's fine. He's great. Nothing's wrong at all. Shut up. Stop looking.
Okay.
No, I think she goes running past him, and he looks really like upset for a minute, but I think he just sort of sticks his hands in his pocket and starts like wandering through the rubble, like poking his toe at stuff, seeing if he can find his bag somewhere. Like, he knew he had his iPod at some point. I've got to find that.
So I've de-roboted at this point. Still kind of fragile, pale and all that. But I go into the rubble with you, and I pull out your headphones, and I come up and gently put them on your ears for you.
I like that.
Aw.
Cool. And that's not a move, is it?
Well, I mean, am I rejecting conformity? I never understand that rule.
It's deliberately subjective. So if you think that you are, then you probably are.
I think I am.
Okay.
So let's see. I'd
Like,
say,
Just because we have all these floating around, like, do you have some sort of music player of your own that you're trying to break Laszlo out of the conformity of like his own sonic headspace that he's built for himself?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I guess I hook you up to me.
Yeah.
And I'll hand the iPod over to you. And so that can be sacrificial. Since I'm not being selfish. And yeah, I mean I'm doing this so that I can try to change one of my labels, and it's because none of my labels ever let me be nice to anyone. I guess this is a part of me that's not been tapped before, so I'll go with untapped. So that's 2d6.
And you can take Laszlo's labels if you want as well.
Oh, I see. Right. Well, I think he's feeling heartbroken, and I'd like him to be jovial.
Sure.
Okay.
I think you could even do fragile too.
Okay. All right. So
Laszlo's just like, oh, a lot of people
Actually,
are
I'm-
label machines.
I'll go with 2d6 plus 3 then. And that's a 12.
Boom. So you get a temporary advantage or effect as well in the scene. And choose two. So you can change or remove that label of yours. What are you changing?
I want to change stern to like commiserate, something where I share feelings with people. Empathetic. I'll go with empathetic.
Empathetic sounds good, yeah.
I like how Laszlo's teaching all of us to be empathetic, so I took empathetic as well.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, like that's the kind of character I wanted this character to be. And then anyway.
Yeah, me too, but I'm a shithead.
I guess I can overflow now, so I'll do that. No, I won't do that.
Okay.
So I'm going to inspire him to also reject conformity.
Nice.
And my temporary effect is that, like, I feel empowered by all this, so I don't feel sick or anything.
Awesome. I like that. So I think for Laszlo, you can choose an option from reject conformity as well then.
I would also like to get rid of her Ultra label.
What you doing?
I think instead of heartbroken, I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think of what to replace that with.
Well, you can delete it too.
Well, I know, but out of my many traits, I also have limited ones that are of good use.
Okay, sounds good.
Let me think about that for a minute.
If anyone is emblematic of having too many labels could hurt you, it's fucking Laszlo. So, but yeah, you do what you want. Cool. Okay, yeah, I like that scene a lot. Is everybody de-roboted, PS, in this scene? Yeah? Cool. Okay, yeah. So as David says, yeah, everybody should reset their distress. And nobody de-roboted in a bad way. So that's good. Cool. So I think Oliver does the anime wake up thing, and he's probably like in a little bit of a mini crater or something, right? Because that's just how they do. and he sits up like on his knees, and I guess gets like enveloped by Kit, right? And as they do the hugs, he says, I wasn't sure that you guys would come for me. And he said, ooh, I like this too. I think he says, but we have to watch out because they're about to do a reset, and that's exactly when the reset happens. Because I still want to get feedback from you guys as well. Does anyone have an idea of what the reset is in this town? PS, did we? Because we did do one reset previously, but I don't think we had codified it, right?
We hadn't. I think no. Yeah, we hadn't. We talked about it.
Yeah, so what do we think a reset looks like in this town? Like in FLCL, it's the smoke coming out of the iron, right, enveloping the city, and then everyone's like, "What just happened?" and that kind of stuff.
Or Kit is definitely getting on the bus and sitting next to Laszlo with her cello suitcase and trying to steal one of Laszlo's earbuds so she could be friends with Laszlo again, as if nothing happened.
Well, I mean, like, what is the actual reset? Like, how does the audience know that the reset has happened? Like, instead of that giant smoke pouring over everybody, what do we think happens in the town that signifies the reset?
Mm.
Like in the show, it's the smoke and the siren goes off, right? Like the horn.
Maybe they open up the dam and like the whole place floods and then clears out.
Oh, interesting. That's weird. Cool. Sure. Okay. And so,
yeah, I was thinking of something like a large thunderstorm, something electrical and water based.
Oh yeah, because we've got the power line and stuff from the adult world, right?
Yeah, and I love Lauren's idea of like we all just sort of get tumbled and thrown around by the water, and when we come back to, like, it's just that start of the day again on the tram into school, and everything's the same.
Cool. I like that. So I actually codified this, so let's see if this procedure works, and then we can move to epilogues if needed. I'm not sure if this will stand in for epilogues or not, but we'll see where we get. So on page 5, end of an episode, when a threat has been dealt with and a reset occurs, this can happen at the end of a session or during one, depending on if the characters want scenes before a reset occurs. But all players decide for themselves how much their characters remember after a reset occurs. You're the only ones that get omitted, and it's just based on what you think. And then we have a number of questions below. Oh, was someone going to say something? No? Okay. There's a number of questions that players can volunteer to answer after the reset. And so there's a player describes from an audience perspective how we know a reset has occurred. A player expresses their character's thoughts and perspective on what happened on a meta level or in character, their choice. A player describes if there is any lasting changes that survive the reset, physically or otherwise, in the town. A player may add a new visual motif to the adult world, and a player may add a new counterculture visual motif. And it's all just y'all volunteering to answer one of those if you have an idea for them. And we can answer all of them or only a couple before moving on. Does anyone have any ideas?
I have one.
Okay.
As part of the reset at the arcade, a new arcade machine is being rolled in, and it's the new robot fighting game, and it has us versus the silo being the finale of it, and right now it's the most popular video game.
Cool. I love that. And so is that what question were you answering with that?
A lasting change that survives the reset.
Gotcha.
In the town.
Cool.
I think I'd like to add a new visual motif to the adult world.
Okay.
So I think a movie theater opens up that exclusively does horror films, and the motif is the adult world profiteering off of kids' fears.
Excellent. That's great.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I have an idea for a new counterculture visual motif.
Okay.
And I think it's sort of like a meta viewership level. But I think like when the counterculture elements come in and when we start like robot fighting resisting, the you know how Fooly Cooly has that very like particular low angle up, everything stretchy sort of thing that happens. This is more of like those sound wave vibrations. So like the outlines of things will like waver and shake in these spiky sound wave distortions, and like attacks, instead of causing like circular explosions around them, will make these like irregular, jagged peaks and valleys sort of form to them. Everything's vibrating sort of on this sound level when things get going.
Cool. Love it.
Can I add one that's already been done?
Yeah, for sure.
Graffiti isn't a counterculture, right? Like we have shoplifting.
Yeah, you have shoplifting, you have do-it-yourself aesthetic, but I don't see graffitiing.
Yeah, I fully I love the idea of like carrying through like that image of like, I don't know, love graffiti. Like I think like it's such a big motif for the session as part of counterculture was like actually being nice to each other and like friendship and love and leaning on each other. But I kind of like that through the visual motif of graffiti. So like sort of just very like loving power friendship kind of like graffiti, like a stylized heart with initials in it and that kind of thing, maybe appearing in the backdrop for things on buildings and on walls and stuff.
Cool. I like that. All right. Does anyone else have anything else they want to hit on?
I did want to do one more. It's the expresses their characters' thoughts and perspectives on what happened. Which is that I think Laszlo's sort of realized that like he feels a deep connection with Kit, but that romance has gotta not be it, because when it comes to those sort of emotions, she's sort of crazy and jagged and sharp, and like he doesn't want to go there again if he can help it. But that there is something like really special about the way the two of them collaborate. So I think at some point, like after this, he'll like knock on her door at her house one day and hand over. He has these like I think it's like sheet music. Yeah, he's very old school, so it wouldn't be like digital. But it's like sheet music where he's written these songs, and he's like, I wrote these, thinking about you, and I don't really think anybody else could help me make these come to life right. I think we should, I think we should work together. I think we should like start a band,
And that's when like Aiden comes in with the guitar, right?
Damn it, Aiden.
Nice. Oh yeah, also Mark, did you want to have a scene with Kit before the reset happened? That might be interesting. Like, or it could be after too, in like an epilogue type thing. But yeah, it depends on if you think that it would be more interesting before or after the reset. Because wasn't one of your wishes was for Felix to have a conversation with Kit, right?
Yeah. I don't think we talked the entire campaign.
Yeah. So do you want to have one before or after? Like, what are you feeling?
I'll do after when we're
Okay.
doing epilogues, maybe.
Okay. So everyone's good with the end of the episode type stuff? Questions? Yeah. Good. Okay, let's go to epilogues then. All right. Well, I guess Mark, do you want to just go into it?
Okay. Yeah. So I definitely have like an epilogue thing about just me, but I'll save that for after. So Kit, maybe we're over at your house hanging out doing something.
Are you in the band too?
Am I? Am I cool enough to be in the band?
As a glimpse forward, like I was definitely going to use my epilogue to start building together the band. So yeah, be in it.
Okay. Alrighty. So Felix plays the violin, so maybe we're like playing violin with cello, just practicing with each other or something. So Kit, Felix asks, how do you put up with all of us immature kids? You're like so, you know, strong and just ahead of us all.
And I think Kit's like stops playing a second, and you get the little like sort of scritch of like a very very well rosined bow against strings, and she fixes Felix with a look, and she says, "I just you can't listen to anyone. Everyone's always trying to label me and make me out to be this selfish, awful person. And I don't know, like maybe that's true, but even if it is, you just have to stop giving a shit." You give too many shits, Felix.
Well, I like caring for all of you.
You can care about people, but you don't have to care about what they say about you. I almost feel like I'm doing like a move. Like I'm trying to reject conformity. Like, don't listen to anyone. Fuck off.
Right.
If Mark, you're comfortable with that, then yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Do you want to mechanize it, or do I just?
Yeah, I guess it's an epilogue, right? Yeah. So whatever you want.
But yeah, you can care about people, but you don't have to care about what they say about you. What they say about you has no bearing on who you are as a person.
Do you so you don't listen to other people? You don't hear what they say?
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes I hear it, like people think that like I'm like greedy and that I like attention, and it hurts when people call me that, but I think as soon as it starts hurting, you just have to not care anymore. I'm not ignorant about what people say about me. I know what people say about me. I just don't care anymore.
Do you ever wish you had a relationship where someone wasn't like that? Where they were better?
What do you mean?
Well, I think you're great, and I was wondering if you'd like to go out sometime.
Sorry, it's Patrick's message. It's probably like a really long couple of seconds, like as Kate considers that. And she probably like blushes and says like, yeah, that'd be nice, like the quietest voice possible, and then goes back to playing her cello. His feelings are stupid and dumb.
And then I'll just accompany you.
Cool.
I'll let you take the musical lead, and I'll just follow behind you.
Cool. Jackson, epilogue?
So I think the epilogue for Jackson is he's in his room and there's a bunch of literally jury-rigged recording equipment that he's been that he's been building for the band, and he's kind of packaging them all up into his backpack and heading out the door because Laszlo's waiting for him. And the camera pans over to one of the treadmills, and there's a little wind-up Laszlo and a little wind-up Jackson walking together hand in hand, revealing.
Cute. Okay. What about Kit?
Ah, fuck. It probably is something like very, very sweet, brief, and cinematic where she's taking one of her music exams and Felix is there accompanying her during it on the violin. And so they play together.
Cool. Laszlo?
I think my final shot here is like we're in the garage at Kit's house. Like it's all four of us. We have the instruments set up. We're practicing, and I think Laszlo has like some weird instrument that he's playing, and he's up at the front like singing into a mic as well. And you have like Jackson on the mixing board, and I don't know if he plays an instrument. You know, the others on their instrument, and it's like you could sort of hear it in overlay, but it's not like we're actually hearing them. But you see the like the edges of the garage, they start to like fuzz and do the shockwave thing, and the house and the yard and everything starts getting these like sound wave fuzz on it, until like from way down the street there's just this thump that like shockwaves down the street towards us, and there's just like a giant robot foot that's landed and just sort of cuts there.
Sweet. And then Mark, you have the thing?
Yeah. So Felix is in their room. They've borrowed a sewing machine, and they've taken their jacket and they've taken all the lace off the sides of their jacket that they had done to look like this Victorian vampire kind of thing, and they're adding in this fur liner to everything. And as the camera pans out, all of the vampire stuff's been taken down off the walls, and all these werewolf things have been put up. And now Felix is all about being a werewolf.
Cool. In the band, is Oliver and Aiden there too? Have you guys learned nothing? No, just kidding. That'd be funny.
Yeah, why not?
I'll just
Sure.
fun.
That would be fun.
Well, I mean Oliver, but not Aiden.
Yeah, of course. Aiden's on the outs. Cool. All right. And so it ends. Closes out. So, if you proved a good repressed trait false, erase it. If you proved it correct, mark XP. If you did you use the established visual motifs in play to reinforce the themes of the game? Probably everybody. There's a lot of that going on, right? If you think you did, then mark XP. Did you learn something new and important about the world? Yes, you did. Mark XP. If you defeated something that embodied a repressed trait of one of your characters, your NO increases. So that would be everybody except Felix, I think, whose next episode would be doing that with Stained and Wrong Attraction. And if people want to talk about how, if they grew up from this experience, they can mark XP and tell people how they grew up.
I think that scene with Felix was that about shutting all your emotions down and not listening to anyone or what they have to say about you.
Cool. Yeah, so you marked an XP from that? Cool. What about Felix? Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I think they've decided to move forward by becoming less selfish and becoming more connected with people. So
great.
They'll start with that.
And they're becoming a werewolf. Is that part of growing up?
That was just part of the repressed trait of being angry. So
right. Right. Okay. Cool. What about Laszlo? Did Laszlo grow up?
I think so. I think it was very much that like emotional journey with Kit, where it's sort of the two adult things of like being able to look at a particular relationship and realize that it is not for you, no matter how much you think it might be. And also that idea of like you can have emotional connections with girls without it necessarily being like we're boyfriend girlfriend now.
Yeah, for sure. What about Jackson?
I think Jackson did not grow up. I think he was very immature, and his crush, which may or may not have a sexual aspect to it. I don't know. You know what? They're too young anyhow, so whatever. But he definitely, is wanting this deeper connection to Laszlo, but it's very, very selfishly and immaturely that he wants this deeper connection. So, no, I think he may have regressed a little bit this session.
Cool. Hey, sometimes that happens. Cool. And then that's how it ends. Cool. I'll stop the broadcast here.